Hello, welcome to today's podcast episode on meditation. So I'm actually headed ASAP for a meditation retreat. It's a 7-day silent meditation retreat. I've never done it before. I presume that there's going to be moments of not silent also, but it is definitely heavy in the meditation. I think about 8 hours of sitting or walking or standing meditation a day. And every time that I tell people this, they're just like, that is wild. I could never do that. I have no idea if I could ever do it either. I guess we'll find out when I go. But it definitely feels like a marathon. It feels like I'm running a marathon of my soul or my mind or something like that. But it also has had me pondering on meditation. Right now, I do meditate regularly. I have for several years, but it's pretty simple and it's pretty small and it's never as big or as intense. So maybe I'll have a completely different meditation podcast episode to record once I come back home. I probably will. But I want to tell you a little bit about what my beliefs are in meditation right now and how it's helped me now, and a little bit of how-tos. Because several times, even when I don't talk about something as big as a 7-day meditation retreat, people often say, oh, I probably should meditate, but I can't, or it's too hard, or whatever. And I remember hearing this quote from Kathy Heller, and I think it was from her book, Abundant Ever After. And she said that the people that feel like they can't meditate are the ones that need it the most. And she heard this years ago before she started meditating, and she knew that it was true for her. And so she started meditating, and in her book, she kind of talks about the expansiveness that has come into her life because of that. And the same has been true for me. So one of the things that really helped me dig into meditation was when someone said, for number one, like you can do it for as long or as short as you want. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going to sit still here for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or 3 hours. It can be super small. So honestly, when I first started meditating, it was like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Most mornings, I probably don't meditate for more than 5 minutes. Also, if you heard any of my subconscious practices, I did 4 episodes on subconscious practices. If I do one of those, I do that in place of meditation because it's a very meditative state as well. So it's not something I do intensely for a really long time or make it really difficult. For sure, you can do longer. And if you're like, I love meditation, I want to do for it longer, that's awesome. But for me, it felt really hard. It felt really difficult. I think fast, I talk fast, I act fast, I do a lot. And meditation felt the opposite of that. It felt very slow. It felt very still. And I just wasn't sure if I could do it. So the number one piece of advice that helped for me was that, like, just start small. And so I did. So I encourage you as well, just start small. Even if it's 30 seconds in the morning, just focusing on your breath. The second thing that really helped me was that I thought that in order to meditate effectively, you had to completely clear your mind of all thoughts. You had to not think the entire time. And I think that's so often why we think it's impossible, is because how could we possibly not think the entire time? Well, actually, it's more of a gentle redirection. So you don't have to clear your mind entirely of thoughts. When the thoughts come in, you just let them float out and you focus back on whatever your focus is, which we'll talk about in a minute. But for me, that also really helped because I thought, well, I don't think I can just not think ever. But it's gently redirecting yourself back to whatever your focus is whenever you notice that you're back in your thinking. So I don't have to just not ever have a thought. And the longer that you're able to cultivate this practice, the more easily you'll find that you're able to clear your mind of the thoughts. So this is how I'm going to teach you to meditate. It's going to be 2 different ways. One way is clearing my mind. So I clear my mind of those thoughts, and then I'm going to focus on something. I like to focus on my breath, in through my nose, exhaling twice as long out through my mouth. And as I'm breathing, I'm just focusing on that breath, how it feels going in, breathing on the exhale. And anytime I notice my thoughts start to like swirl again and I start to get back into thinking mode, I just focus back on my breath, in through my nose, exhaling twice as long out through my mouth. You can focus on something else. Some people like a sound or a hum, like a om or something like that. Or I used to have this candle that had a wood wick, and wood wick candles kind of flicker and have a little sound. So you could focus back on like the sound of the flicker or something. But it's just focusing on one thing. Clearing the mind, focusing back, clearing the mind, focusing back. And when you're focusing back, it's gentle redirection. Oftentimes we think that meditation doesn't work because we're just like, oh, I'm thinking too much and I ruined it and I like got it wrong and now I have to get up and not do it anymore. A gentle redirection is, oh, I'm back in my mind space. Okay, I'm going to go back into my breath. Oh, I'm back in my mind space. Okay, I'm going to get back into my breath, back into my body. And it's just gently redirecting instead of shaming or guilting or being angry at or feeling like it's not working. The second form of meditation that I have learned about is more of an open meditation. So I imagine myself literally like with my hands open, my palms towards the sky. And I imagine myself just being super open And again, I just kind of clear my mind and breathe a few times, and I allow whatever wants to come in that day. So maybe a thought comes in, or maybe an idea comes in, I allow it to meander, maybe a shape or an object or a form comes in. But I imagine myself just being open to receiving whatever wants to come in. Whether you believe in the universe or God or divine, I kind of imagine this as like communion. I get to like be open to receiving whatever wants to come into me that day. And that feels like a very different way of meditating, but I also really love the openness of it. So I once said to somebody like, I don't think there's any rules in meditation. And they had studied under like Buddhist gurus for a long time. And they were like, I'm pretty sure there's lots of rules about meditation. They felt the very opposite way that I did about meditation, which is fine. That can totally work for them. But for me, I needed a way that was a lot more easeful, a lot more flowy, a lot more loose. And so when I learned these ways of meditating, I loved it. What I've noticed is that over time, I felt less dysregulated. I felt more able to have flexibility and malleability of thought. Like when thoughts came in, they didn't feel quite so persistent or quite so truthful or right there. It felt like I had more power and intentionality over my thinking and over my feelings, and especially over my behavior. And I think that that comes over time as you let the thoughts flow out and you focus back on your breath. You become more malleable in that space. So that is how meditation has helped me. I'm curious for you. You can comment below or send me a message what you feel about meditation. If you're like, no, it has to be this one way. I obviously have not learned all that there is to learn about meditation, but even in my tiny little way, I felt like meditation has been a really powerful tool for me. And again, I count meditation as well as those subconscious practices that I taught several weeks ago on the podcast as well. So if you want to listen into those, you can. And when I very first started meditating, I would just do that minute or two a day, or I would do a guided meditation. And I really felt like being guided by somebody else and kind of visualizing through somebody else's words was really powerful for me as well. So we'll see how 7 days of meditating goes. I have no idea. I'm really excited to find out. I remember hearing a story where somebody went to something similar like this and like after an hour or two just fell asleep or just couldn't focus or whatever and walked off. And the person leading it came and spoke to them and just said, it's okay. It's not like I did it wrong or I'm doing it wrong. It's even if you nod off, even if your thoughts wander, you just gently redirect it back again. And so they were able to do that and be able to kind of move into a much deeper spiritual space once they let themselves just keep coming back and keep coming back. So that's what I'm hoping happens as I'm gone away doing this for 7 days. And I'm sure I'll have more to share when I come back. But I encourage you, if this is something that's been on your mind or on your heart specifically, to start with a guided practice, start with a small practice, start with no rules in your meditation and just see how it goes for you. If you are enjoying these episodes, I would love for you to follow, subscribe, like, share, do all those things so that it can get more out into the world, more out into the algorithm, and join me in this shame-free movement.